Okay, so in this week's video, what we've got, we've managed to score a Ryobi tool bundle, 5 of them for 25 quid on Marketplace. So what we're going to do is we're just going to tear them down. I've got myself a Ryobi battery from one of my other tools. I've got the compressor. So I'm just going to borrow the battery out of that because it's a 1 Plus range. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by tearing it down. We're going to start with a drill. And so far, as you can see, it's already looking a little bit worse for wear than it should. So we'll get that torn down. We'll see what's wrong with it. But on this one so far, the trigger sort of sits in a little bit. Not really happy, and it's constantly always on, so we'll see if there's anything we can do about that. Okay, once you've got all 8 taut screws out, that should pop the side case off. Oh wow, yeah, as you can see, this has got a fair amount of gunk in it, so we're just going to give it a bit of a clean down. From the looks of it, I think that's just wood and gunk just sort of mixed together, so we'll get that cleared out and cleaned up. Okay, with this one, what's kind of gone wrong is the trigger itself, the button. That's kind of not really pushing itself back out, so I believe the spring in that, or whatever's pushing it back out, is not quite right. So it works, but it's just a bit temperamental, so I'm going to put that back together and come back to that when I've got a spare switch or button. Okay, now we're on to the reciprocating saw, and this thing, I have pre-tested it, and it really does not sound happy. It's got some horrible squeak into it, so I believe that might just be clean out, re-grease here, re-grease there, and that should be good to go. But we'll get all the screws out and we'll find out. And once all 16 screws are out of it, we can start by pulling, separating the case. On this one, what you've got to do to separate it, you do have to pull back the saw retaining clip mechanism, just so that you can actually take the case apart, because you've got to sort of pull it round it. So Okay, now that we've taken the other half of the casing off, as you can see, this has got a lot of dust and what looks like sort of plasterboard remnants in it. So give that a jolly good brush down, clean up and re-grease where necessary, and then give it another test. Okay, I've given the reciprocating part a good clean down. I've given it a good dollop of grease as well, just to make sure everything's sort of running smoothly. That's not actually where the noise is coming from, so we're going to have to investigate the actual motor itself, because I think that's where the noise is coming from. Maybe some plaster has got stuck in there or something along those lines, but we'll find out. It was the motor that was causing the problem, so what I had to do is I ended up using some compressed air and ended up blasting it to oblivion. And although it's not perfect, it's certainly not making the horrible screeching sound it was, so that should be all good. Just going to put it back together, make sure everything's as sort of plaster free as we can sort of manage. As you can see, it's all over the desk. But yeah, this one's looking like a winner so far. Okay, now we're on to the impact driver. This is the brushed version. This one doesn't look too, I mean it looks well used, but it doesn't look too bad. Upon testing it did seem okay, so maybe just a light clean out and then see how it performs. Right, so on this one you've got to undo the four screws that are holding the attachment part on. Once that's actually, that's the gear stepper. But yeah, once that's removed, that's when you undo all the other screws, because otherwise it won't separate while that's still on it. Now we've got that off, we can see the inside, and yeah, we've got a fair amount of sawdust in there, I'll give it that. Trigger seems to be pretty happy. Just give it a clean down, a little bit of grease where needed, and that one should be good to go, but again, we'll test it and find out. Okay, now we're on to the circular saw. This one This one's making a horrible squealing sound, and it sounds like the bearing's gone. The one that's sort of sat right behind the blade. We'll get this torn apart. We'll give it a bit of a clean down while we're in there, because, well, why not? But this one, I don't think a re-greasing's going to solve the issue, so may have to get a new bearing, so I might have to jump back onto that one, but again, we'll see. Yeah, and as sort of suspected, the inside of this has got a fair amount of sawdust in it, which is kind of obvious that it's being used and well loved. But yeah, we'll give that a good clean up. We'll get the motor out, and we'll have a look at the other side of that, see how bad it is. Okay, the guard was a bit more trickier to get off than I imagined, but it's off now, so we've got access to the other side of this. This looks a lot better than I thought it would. There's still a fair gob of grease in there, so again, we'll have a look. I don't think it's going to make the difference. And now just time for reassembly, and once that's reassembled, I'll give it a quick whack and see where we are. Right, now we're on to the impact driver that's the brushless one. This one seems to be okay as well. So again, just a light clean down. But so far that's two tools that have had minimal sort of work done to them, and they've come out fine. So far £10 out of the 25 is well spent. But for a fiver a tool, they're not too bad. But yeah, we'll see. We'll find out. Okay, and yeah, as we can see, another well used and well loved tool. So we'll get that cleaned down and see if she's any happier. Okay, so got all the tools here. It's time for testing. We'll start with the Good old drill. Obviously, seen a bit good bit of use, but yeah, we'll give that a test. So yeah, you can see the trigger does still sit in a little bit and doesn't pop back out, but I've already used this anyway, and I can say without a doubt it does its job. Now we're on to the brushless impact driver. Yeah, we've got where the LEDs work and tells you how much and what setting we're on. It works, I won't say it sounds perfect. Alright, now on to the big circular saw. It's even got a little laser on it. Sounds better than it did, but still doesn't sound perfect. I'm yet to actually put a blade on here and fully test it. Now we've got the reciprocating saw. The thing about this one is I've used it, it's worked, both metal and wood, but unfortunately, if I remember rightly, the very last time I went to use it, it made this sound. Oh. Okay. That one we will have to jump back to on another video. Not only that, I can hear some rattling around in there. In fact, yeah. Okay. So far we're 3 out of 5 and 1 bad one. Now the final one is the brushed impact driver. So sounds a lot better than the brush one. Don't know whether they're supposed to sound different or not, but again, both of them do their job. So 4 out of 5, not too bad, not too bad at all. Well, that concludes that video. Have a great day. Please like and subscribe for more.